Hi, Monica. It's so nice to have you here to talk about joining Teach for America. And if you want the rundown again, I know I already said all these things, but my name is Rachel McGirt, and I graduated from UNC Chapel Hill in 2016. And after leaving or finishing up at Carolina, I went to go teach second grade in Charlotte, North Carolina. And after that, I moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts to attend Harvard Graduate School of Education, where I studied curriculum development and teaching. And so now I'm back here working with Teach for America, and truly is an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to work with an organization that really transform the way that I think about education and enhance my professional ability and skills. And so really just made me want to dig a little bit deeper and work a little bit harder to really change the educational landscape and change these educational issues that we have at hand right now. So I'll give you a little bit of background about my TFA story, kind of. And so I became really passionate about education when I was in high school. I went to a predominantly white high school in Durham, North Carolina, and so I noticed the differences in the classes that a lot of my friends were taking and then the classes that I was taking. And so in 10th grade, I took my first AP class. I took AP government. And so, and that's what made me want to major in political science when I was in college. But I noticed, like my first day of class, I was like, where is everybody? Where are my friends? Like the people that I ride the bus with, like where did they go? And so I slowly figured out that my situation was very different. And in that, I was moving up the ladder in regard to the rigor of classes that I was taking inside of my school. And so once that rigor was enhanced, I lost some people along the way that looked like me. And so I had a lot of feelings about it. I was angry. I was upset. Um, I didn't know what was happening all the time. I wondered, like, where did all the black and brown teachers go, and so on and so on. And so moving up in high school into 11th and 12th grade, and that continued. I said I'm going to go to college and I'm going to major in political science and I'm going to change the law is what I said. And so I really, really wanted to go to law school, and I don't know if that's completely out of the way quite yet, but I really wanted to go to law school so I could do educational law and do educational policy. And I found out my sophomore year of college about Teach for America through a professor after telling them my desire to do educational law. So they were like, oh, you should check out this program, TFA. And so I heard about TFA, started to go, went to a few events for it. And I was like, wow, this is so awesome. And so long story short, because I will tell stories for a long time, but I joined TFA in Charlotte, and it was heart-wrenching to see some of the conditions that my students lived in, the conditions that they learned in, but that drove me to want to work so hard, not for myself, but working on behalf of my students. And I just became so inspired by them and by their stories and by their families and by their parents and by their communities and how resilient they truly were, and just what amazing people they were. And like I said, it was truly just such an honor and a privilege. It's an honor and a privilege to be back with TFA now, but it was an honor and privilege to work with them the first time. And I see that you have a very, very similar profile to that what I had in your community engagement, and me as a person that will continue to push on the behalf of marginalized groups and continue to continue to be an activist in the communities that I work in, and working on student council and doing internships. We are both very similar, and I really like that. And the fact that you really want to stay in community organizing, but then also go into being an elected official and actually change those laws and truly work on behalf of your community is really beautiful. And I think that the way in which Teach for America works is that they take passionate leaders, competent leaders, people who are really excellent, not just academically, but socially and in their communities. And they funnel them through the schools, and they do encourage you to stay there. They do encourage you to be engaged. They do want you to put your heart and soul into what you're doing inside of the classroom and outside of the classroom. And so you're able to take those skills that you learned inside of the classroom and see education from a very broad scope, and then go into different areas and continue to make those changes. So for you, as wanting to be an elected official, you have the experience that many elected officials don't have, and that's being a teacher. And not just getting to work on behalf of your students, but your teachers too. And you'll truly understand the community that you're working in because you'll be with students every single day. And so I won't make this too long, but I'm glad I was able to give you a little bit of background about my story. And I hope that sticks with you and you wanting to come and join Teach for America.